We might be finished by then. All right, so we're going to do week 2, lesson 2 notes on fractions, decimals, and percents. All right, the word percent means, and y'all might remember this from last year, what does percent mean? It's Latin. It means out of 100. The word percent means out of 100. Fractions and decimals can always be written as a percent, and a percent can always be changed to fractions and decimals, and that's what we're going to focus on today. So in this first box, I am going to show you how to change a fraction into a percent. So remember, percent means out of 100. If you need to move, feel free to move. I know you can't see through me.
Wait, what paper is this?
Week 2, lesson 2 notes. You can look at Lydia's to see which one. No, you don't have it. You don't have the one that I gave out the other day that Lydia's looking at. Okay, write the fraction with 100 as the denominator. The numerator is your percent, since percent means out of 100. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take this fraction 3/4 and we're going to figure out what number goes on top so it's written out of 100. Okay, so use your calculator, cross diagonally through the equal sign and multiply 3 times 100. And what do you get? What is 3 times 100? 300. Divide by this number 4 that we haven't used yet. And what's 300 divided by 4?
Wait, can you zoom in?
I can.
100?
No, 300 divided by 4.
300 divided by 4 is 75.
75. So if you look at this fraction, how many parts do you have out of 100? 75. So that is your percentage. The fraction 3/4 is the same thing as 75%. And we'll do some more like that.
I can't see.
Okay, well, I zoomed in. Do we need to turn the light off and just have the lights up?
Like before, like I have all of this, and then
What's under the?
yeah.
Can you just read what's under the 3 or the 4?
Oh, I crossed diagonally through the equal sign, multiplied 3 times 100 to get 300, and then divided by this number that hadn't been used yet. It's that cross multiplication technique when we're finding equivalent fractions. It's called a cross multiplication technique. Yeah. All right, so here in the second box, we're going to take decimals and change them to percentages. So we're going to use place value to write the decimal as a fraction, then write the fraction with 100 as the denominator, and the numerator is going to be your percent. So how would a mathematician read 0.8? They wouldn't read it 0.8. What would they read? You remember the place value chart that we memorized last year? This is one place after the decimal. So this is 8 what? 8 tenths. The first place after the decimal is the tenths place. 8 tenths. Now my denominator's not 100 right now, is it? I'm going to have to take that 8 tenths. Okay, I'm not sure why anybody's punching on their calculator because the denominator's not 100, right? Right now the denominator is 10.
I don't have a calculator.
We need to change this so that the denominator ends up being a 100. We've got to change it so the denominator is 100. So use that cross multiplication technique and figure out what goes on the top. Now punch in your calculator. Well, you've done half of it. Yeah, you cross diagonally through here, multiply those, and then divide by this one. Yes, ma'am. So we see that 8/10 is the same thing as 80 out of 100. Percent means out of 100, so our percent is 80. So the decimal point 8 is the same as the fraction 8/10 and the same as 80%. All right, so down here, number 1 and 2, I have given you a grid system with 100 blocks.
That's really a
This it is. I think it is. Let me double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, 10 times 10 is 100. So, what percentage of the blocks are shaded?
25%.
That is, you're right, because out of 100, 25 of them are shaded, so that's 25%. How would you write this as a fraction?
25% out of 100.
Well, just 25 out of 100. There are 100 blocks and 25 are selected. So here's your fraction, here's your percent. They are identical. They're exactly the same. It's just 2 different ways of looking at it. Actually, 3 different ways of looking at it. We've got a picture, we have a fraction, and we have a percent. So I want you to do number 2 on your own. For each of the following, write a fraction and a percent to name the shaded part of the grid.
You check mine.
But I've already got the answer here, honey. If your answer is what
No,
I
I'm about number 2.
Oh, I'll look at that in just a second. Yes, sir.
Wait, can I do the fraction on the other one?
So Lydia, what'd you get?
71%.
You got 71? So close. Each one of these rows would be 10. So we've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 71, 72. See, we've got 2. So you were really close. 72 out of what? 100. And then, now that we have a fraction out of 100, what's the percentage? 72%. Okay, any questions on those 2? Now, 4 and 5 are going to be different. Write a percent to name the shaded part of each rectangle. I don't have 100 blocks, do I? Do I have 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, we're going to start by writing a fraction. Tell me the fraction that represents the shaded part. 7 out of 10. What do I have to do to this fraction so that I can quickly figure out the percent? No, that's how you change it to a decimal.
Wouldn't it just be 7%?
No, ma'am. Percent means out of 100.
It'd be 70.
This is not out of 100. You have to change it and figure out what the number would be out of 100.
700. Oh.
Try again.
Yeah.
Why don't you use your calculator and use the technique that we've been doing? I do like that you're trying to figure it out without the calculator, but I also like right answers. That's correct. We cross diagonally and multiply these, which gives you 700. divide by that 10. That gives you the fraction 70 out of 100. So your percent is 70. I want you to do number 5 on your own. Write your fraction, change it to an equivalent fraction out of 100, and then you'll have your percentage.